Hello! What's up and servus? My name's Simon Mack, and in this episode, I'm going to be building a little shelf, or a little shelf insert for an entertainment center. Now, a basic bookshelf is pretty easy. The concept of it is you have two sides and you put some shelves in between, right? Something like that. The question is, how do you attach the shelves to the sides? And there are many ways you can do this. You can do this using a dado. You could just put screws from the outside. You could go in from the outside with dowels. But what I'm gonna do today, also a pretty easy method, is called pocket screws. The pocket screws go in from underneath through the board into the side. Your piece of wood, here's your side. The pocket screw is gonna go in through the wood this way. So in the end it'll be buried in there like this. And it won't be visible from the front or the side. Now, they're not the strongest joint in the world, but they are good enough for the sake of what I'm doing today. I'm gonna reinforce that a little bit with glue just to make it slightly stronger. I'm gonna be using a couple of jigs in this build, but you don't have to at all. One of them is a pocket hole jig, the other one is just a shelf pin jig. So I'll show you how those work. So this right here is a Craig jig. It's for making pocket holes. So I'm going to be putting the wood in there, and then this inserts here, comes through on the other side and drills a little pocket hole there. Okay, so that's a pocket hole jig. And then I have a shelf pin jig, which just helps space them evenly if you want to make the shelves adjustable. Sometimes you can't find your stuff, like your extension cords. Well, I just noticed that my work light has a power outlet on the other side. How great is that? Now I've got an extension cord. Perfect, let's go. Haha! Don't forget to adjust this piece. Before I get too excited about making all the pocket holes and go ahead and do the third one, remember, I'm doing shelf pins to make the third one, which is going to be the middle one, adjustable. So, no pocket holes for that one. So I want to set this reference point on my mark. However, notice that the hole isn't right at the mark. The top of the hole is about 3/4 from the bottom. So I need to go back 3/4 here and make a mark there, exactly 24 inches. And then if I set this jig on that line, this is going to move me up 3/4 where the pin is, where this board is going to be resting. There, and that way it's perfectly aligned. There's some kind of goop here, maybe some glue or something that got onto the bottom. I felt it when I started cutting, but I just kind of pushed through, and this, and then my blade being down too deep, as you can see where it burnt on there. That's how far it was down. It doesn't need to be that far down to cut a 1/2 inch plywood. So that combination made for a bad cut. So I'm going to clean that up and make sure my blade is set to the right depth. whatever was on here was super sticky. It's off now. You can see it actually got on the wood. It caught on this end and it made the saw turn, and then also the saw was set way too deep, so it turned, which made it stick in here. You can see where it cut in there, and then it was clamped in there, which made it burn. Yeah, so we're gonna set it to the right depth. Make sure it's unplugged. I'm only cutting a 1/2 inch, so I don't need it protruding very far beyond that. Need the teeth to come out the other side and be able to clear out some of the sawdust. Maybe give it a little bit more. It's more than deep enough right there, where we have the teeth peeking out on the other side. Here's a word of caution if you're getting your lumber cut at your hardware store. The kid who cut this, I don't think knew what he was doing. If you'll see down here, these are lined up on the other side, lined up right here. These are not remotely close to being the same. Also, if you'll look down this edge, they aren't anywhere close to straight. I asked him to cut it at 18, and this one is right about 18, and then this one isn't anywhere even in the ballpark. For the sake of this project, I need the front to line up, which they do. The back is way off. And I need my shelf holes to line up, and they do. So that's the key part. And then the top of this here is protruding. I'm going to go back and shave that off. I've secured a board here. That way when I put in pocket hole screws, it's not going to move. So here's the basic 3-shelf unit. The middle is removable. I have shelf pins in there. These pins will pull right out, and then you can change the height. Now, I didn't worry about putting a back on this because it's going to be mounted inside an entertainment center, and then we'll attach it there, so racking isn't going to be a problem because it's attached, so it doesn't need a back. I am going to put the front on it. I will be dressing these up just to give them a little bit beefier of a look, and then they can be stained later on. They asked me not to put any stain or finish onto this one. They might want to paint it later on, so I just left the wood raw as it is.